Hi.
Hi.
What is the problem we're going to be talking about today?
So I'm just like feeling really, really unmotivated recently, and I just feel like I just don't want to go to practice.
And what sport do you play?
I'm a libero in volleyball, and it's my senior year, and this year just feels different.
Different how?
I don't know. It's just like I don't want to like go to practice anymore. It's like kind of like what's the point?
And is this a more recent feeling you just got, or has this been happening all season?
It's been like happening all season. It's like the middle of the season. So I feel like it's definitely been getting like worse as the season progresses.
And when do you think this really started? Was it an event, or was it just one day you just had this feeling?
I just as soon as I was I'm now I don't start anymore. So I guess it was the first game of the season when I started feeling like this because I didn't start. So that kind of triggered my lack of motivation.
So you're saying you feel like you're not as motivated to go to practice or anything anymore because you're not in a starting spot?
Yeah, yeah, that I would say that because I don't know, I'm just so used to being the best, and now I feel underappreciated, and I don't know, I feel like nobody thinks I'm good anymore. So, or good enough to start at least.
Okay. Um, let's talk a little bit about the you feel like nobody's believing in you and stuff. Why do you have this feeling?
I don't I feel like nobody really like respects me anymore because for freshman year and sophomore year and junior year, I was doing so well and I kept improving and like I was starting my freshman year. So like that's something you don't really see a lot of. And so I feel like I was just like on top of the world and everyone was like respecting me. And now that like other people on my team are like getting better, I'm not like jealous of them, but like it kind of hurts.
And why, in what sense are you not also getting better? Like in what skills are we talking about here?
I don't know. I mean, I think that I'm doing fine. It's just that I guess I'm I guess other people are just better than me.
Okay, so am I right in saying you feel like other people are improving because you and are doing better because they're starting, and you think you're not getting any better because you're not? Or would that be a wrong assumption?
Yeah, I guess I feel like starting is like a big facilitator in like my happiness, I guess. I guess I prioritize starting too much. Um, but I don't know, I just feel like it's important to me.
And were you a starter in previous seasons?
Yeah, all of my seasons. I've never been a non-starter until now. So I don't know, I just feel so unmotivated to go to practice and I'm a senior, so like what's the point?
And have you had a discussion with your coach at all?
Not really. I mean, right now I'm kind of like upset with him, so I don't really want to talk to him.
Okay. So can you explain a little bit more about, if you're comfortable, about why you might be upset with him?
Because he just, I don't think he appreciates what I've put into this team for the past 3 years. Like I've been so dedicated and now he's benching me. So it's just like, for what reason? Why would he do that?
Okay. So you feel like you're being overlooked by
Yeah,
your
I
coach? And is
definitely.
this a physical actual overlook? Do you feel as though you've been being treated differently aside from the starting?
I guess not. I mean, I've never been like his favorite, but I've never been like mistreated by him. He's a good coach. So I feel like his behavior towards me hasn't really changed. So I guess he's fine with me, but I'm just not fine with him.
Okay. So it'd be correct in saying that you're angry with him and don't want to have this conversation, even though he hasn't physically made shown you any changes in how he talks to you or treats you.
Yeah, I guess that definitely makes sense. I would agree with that. I don't know how to deal with him because I guess I don't really have the strongest relationship with him. So, I mean, it's kind of hard to talk to him.
You, the strongest relationship, is this new? How has your relationship been with him in the past few seasons compared to now?
I feel like because I've never really had any criticisms or critiques by him, like I've always been good, so like he doesn't really need to like talk coach me very much, so I haven't really had a lot of like confrontation with him, to be honest. He just says like, "Oh, good job," and that's it. So I feel like our relationship for the past 4 years, like it's not really as strong as it could have been.
So what you're saying is you just feel like there's no relationship because he's only ever shown you acclamations without really any criticism or critiquing of what you could be doing better.
Yeah, and there's like just no personal, like I don't have a personal bond with him. And I guess that's because like he had to work on other players more than me. So like all of his other players got more attention. But since I was so good, I guess I got less attention, if that makes any sense.
And is there anyone else you've talked to about this feeling or even about your relationship with your coach?
I talked to my parents about it. I talked to my teammates about it.
Okay. And how did that go? Do you feel as though they would agree with you, or do you feel supported by them in your feelings like this?
I think that my teammates kind of don't understand. At least I'm friends with like a lot of the juniors. So they don't really understand like my lack of motivation because this is like they're not seniors. So they're not gonna be like done. But a few of my senior friends are very like unmotivated because of like senioritis and like they know that they're not gonna be continuing the sport. This is and they're not I'm not either, so
So what you're saying is overall in your year of seniors, there's an overall lack of motivation due to it being your last year.
yeah. Yeah, definitely. I feel like a lot of us, almost all of us are feeling that way and like I guess everyone's bringing each other down.
Could this be a possibility that your coach has seen this lack of motivation by all the seniors,
Yeah,
where it could be affecting the team?
yeah, he's like mentioned it a few times. Like we've we've been like slacking on a few drills, and so like we had to do um like extra burpees or extra jumping jacks to just make up for the fact that we were like not taking the drills seriously. So I definitely think he's noticed it, but like that's he hasn't really asked us about it. He's just been seeing it and then giving us drills, extra drills to do as like a punishment.
Okay. So is it fair to say like you feel, I would say it's fair to say you feel almost like the motivation could be better? Or would you say you feel more like the coach just doesn't really understand?
I feel like the coach doesn't understand. I guess there's like a disconnect between the team, and I don't know. I guess we also like aren't really helping each other either. I feel like there's like a disconnect more like between the team and like supporting each other.
Okay. I want to build off of that real quick. Um, Team disconnect, is this something that has been a repetitive thing over your past 4 years here, or do you feel like this is new with this team this year?
I feel like we've been pretty good with each other. Freshman year was a little rough because we were all like getting to know each other, and there was like some team drama where like it was just very messy with relationships. But then sophomore year and junior year we got over that hump and like really connected. And now it's like we're going backwards, and it's kind of like a few of the girls are ignoring other girls, or and I personally am not a fan of the underclassmen just because they kind of took my starting position. So I guess I just don't really want to. I want to stick to my old friends and not make any new friends, I guess.
Okay. Talking still about the team disconnect, I do want to loop back eventually to the underclassmen taking starting spot. But prior to that, the team disconnect and this being something you've said like was before your freshman year, you're still getting to know each other. Um, would you say like your team disconnect is only on the court, or is it something that you see like outside of it too, where I mean, you said you just brought up how you don't feel like you want to make any friends with the new girls on the team. Is this simply because of the starting spot, or is it because there's no team chemistry at practice?
I definitely say I would say that there's very little team chemistry this year compared to like my last few years. I felt like maybe outside of the sport, normally the seniors take control of doing team building exercises and, just trying to connect with the underclassmen. It was like their responsibility. So I guess my seniors me and my senior group are kind of lacking in that because we're not really reaching out to the underclassmen, and I guess that might be affecting our team dynamic.
So, do you think it's fair to say that should the senior classes, including yourself, start stepping up, that team chemistry could be built and you guys could improve your relationship off and on the court?
Yeah, I we definitely need that. But I don't know, we're just so unmotivated that I don't know how we're gonna do that because it's already halfway through the season, and yeah, we still could go further in our season, but I just feel like we're not going to be able to.
The motivation you keep talking about, you brought it up earlier with the seniors, is the lack of motivation strictly with the senior class, or is this something that you as an upperclassman see me like feel like you've noticed throughout all classes and coaching staff, everyone a part of this team included?
I feel like it's mostly right now the senior class, and yeah, we're the problem.
Um, okay. Why do you think this could be?
I feel like, well, for me, I don't know about the other girls, but for me, I feel like I'm definitely not going to be continuing this sport when I graduate. So I kind of feel like it's pointless because we're already halfway through the season and it's just so much work for not even starting. So that sucks. And then also just like graduation in general is kind of creeping up on us too. So that for me personally, I feel like I don't really know what I want to do after graduation. So I think it's like a combination of things.
So what I'm getting from that is you feel more there's more extrinsic factors, so graduation, not continuing on, that could be influencing more your lack of motivation here and not just the losing your starting spot.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, I think so. A little bit. It's like I feel like it's mainly my starting spot that's bugging me, but then also it's the fact that I have nothing else going right in my life. So it's like, oh, I just lost the one thing that like I felt like I had control of, I guess.
Okay, so you feel like the one thing that made you feel, I'd say, like put together, accomplished, with that, with you not having that anymore, you kind of feel like everything's on a downfall. Would that be a fair statement?
I feel like it's more like everything was already on a downfall and now the one thing that wasn't is. So now everything is. So everything's worse.
Okay. Um, I want to circle back now to you talking about the underclassmen. You mentioned you're not quite a fan of them. Could you expand on this? Is this like, was did something happen that caused this, or was it just something you just came to think of?
Well, I feel like it was a lot to do with the girls taking other seniors. So, I mean, this year alone, one senior got cut, which was very surprising because I feel like coaches don't really cut their seniors. And just because she didn't play that much or wasn't the best, I felt like she deserved better instead of making room for the freshmen. And then our setter, um, she got replaced by a sophomore for starting. And then there was another hitter that got replaced too. So and then me. So that's four seniors, now three because one got cut, got overpowered by underclassmen. So I feel like it definitely is like a team like superiority thing.
So you feel like the freshmen came and kind of started taking your spots in a
Yeah.
sense, even though their skills could prove, or it could be the coach just trying to see things how it is, how other things could play out.
Yeah. I guess like we just worked for 4 years and we like deserve those spots.
So you feel like you should have an entitlement to the starting positions you worked for.
Yeah, definitely.
And do you think this is something that maybe, I know you mentioned not having the good relationship with your coach, but do you think that this is a conversation you could be having and just feel like you're not because you're angry?
Yeah, I definitely say I'm pretty angry. Like I just feel just really frustrated with everybody and definitely a little bit like abandoned, I guess, by our coach. So I feel like we definitely should, if we want to go further in our season, definitely should have a sit down with our coach to talk about it.
Okay. So you kind of feel like the lack in team chemistry, the lack in possible wins is involved and influenced by your coach's decision to take out the seniors.
Yeah, like we didn't think it was going to be a rebuilding year, and apparently it was. So
Okay. Um, and I just have a quick question though. In your statement of you kind of not being a fan of the underclassmen, is there at all a chance that you've shown this to the underclassmen and like they get the idea that maybe their upperclassmen aren't fans of them?
I mean, I personally don't really talk to them as much as I should outside of practice. I feel like during practice we all try and support each other as best as possible. But then like as soon as practice ends, like nobody talks to them and nobody hangs out with them. At least the seniors kind of like stick to themselves, and I feel like I don't want to go against what they're doing, so I just go along with whatever they're doing.
So is it fair to say you feel like things could get worse should you not just follow what the other seniors are doing and ignoring the underclassmen?
Yeah, I feel like if I don't do that, then I could lose like my senior friends.
Okay. Do you also feel like potentially a factor in your loss of motivation could be the influence also from your senior friends?
Yeah, definitely. They could be. I definitely feel like they're affecting my motivation.
Okay. And have you tried to branch out, get support from other places, lean on other friends you might have?
No, I feel like I identify as an athlete so much that like all of my inner circle is my senior friends, and that's about it.
I want to go off of what you just mentioned, your identity being an athlete. Would it be a fair statement to say then that you feel a lot of your life is influenced by the sport you play and how well you do?
Yeah, I definitely would say that. I feel like everything revolves around volleyball, and now that I'm not a big part of my volleyball team, I feel like what am I going to do now?
Okay. So it's fair to say that you feel like now that volleyball is in a sense falling apart, you're losing the feeling of who you are and what your purpose is right now.
Yeah, I definitely would say that. I don't know what I'm doing. Sorry.
Okay. Um, how is your life then, I would say, outside of your sport? School wise, anything else that you feel might be stressing you out aside from volleyball?
Yeah, I mean, like, my grades are fine and school's fine. My classes are all fine. I just, I don't know what I'm gonna do after I graduate. So I feel like I feel like I'm a little lost when it comes to that, but I feel like right now for class wise, I'm doing fine. I could be doing a little better, but I don't know. I feel like I just don't know what I want to do in my career. So I feel a lot of pressure.
Okay. We've talked a lot about obviously now outside influences. So I would say just kind of sum up what we've kind of mentioned. Would it be accurate to say you feel like your lack of motivation could be in turn to your feeling of being unsure of what you're doing after graduation, the outside influences from your other seniors, you losing your starting spot, and possibly your relationship with your coach? Would that be a fair
Yep.
assessment?
Yeah, definitely.
As for that, you mentioned earlier that as seniors, you guys could be doing more to help with the season. Do you think like it could be a fair assumption that maybe you guys do need to have this talk with each other or just with the coach or with the entire team?
Yeah. I definitely think that could be like a step to go in like a good direction to start. I just don't want to do it.
So it's fair to say you feel like trying to initiate this talk could make things worse.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not a confrontational person, which is why I'm just going with the flow of what everyone else is doing. So maybe I can try and convince someone else to do it for me.
Okay. So while we wrap up here in our last minute or so that we have, I would say definitely a big step would be talking to that coach first. I mean, we've summarized pretty much where your lack of motivation is coming from. Um, and you can agree or disagree with me that I feel possibly this grudge in a sense that you have with the underclassmen could potentially be to those other influences that you have also playing in to your lack of motivation. Do you think that's a
Yeah,
fair? Okay. Well, thank you for your time.
thanks.